And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. With me, I have a very special guest with me. I have Marilyn Knapp with me. She's back here again. I'm excited to have her back over here at Movie Lovers Unite. It's always an honor and a privilege to have her here. And tonight, we are actually, since it's spooky season, I figured what better way to celebrate spooky season than have Stir of Echoes, which is one of my favorite Kevin Bacon movies from 1999. So, for further ado, let's welcome Marilyn back to the show and let's hit up some Stir of Echoes. Let's do it. And hey, Marilyn, welcome to the show.
Hello, John. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's good to have you here tonight. And I just want to say I've been excited and looking forward to this all day just to have you back on the show and talk about some Stir of Echoes and just review this movie scene by scene and give it a modern day rating that it deserves. But it's great to have you back.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So before we get into this, guys, I actually have a little bit of a small promo, a little bit of housekeeping, but I promise you I won't keep you here long because we're going to get on with the show. What you guys has been wanting from this podcast is a Star of Echoes review. But first, let me just tell you about a little movie that is part of Paramount, and Paramount ended up sending me this promo in. Matter of fact, if you guys are listening to this right now, the first person that emails me at movieloversunite at gmail.com will get a digital copy, a free digital copy of Transformers 1. So bring home Transformers 1 today and buy one digital and buy on digital now. Watch the untold origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron, brothers in arms turned sworn enemies who changed the falls of Cybertron forever. Chris Hemsworth, Brian Tyree, Henry, and Scarlett Johansson star in the film critics are calling the perfect movie for the whole family. Includes over 45 minutes of fun-filled bonus features available at participating retailers. Buy Transformers 1 on digital today and rated PG from Paramount Animation and Hasbro. So that's everything you need to know. But like I said, if you want your digital copy of Transformers 1, you can win one by going to movieloversunite at gmail.com and I will send you that free digital code. So movieloversunite at gmail.com and I'll send you that Transformers 1 digital copy. So without further ado, let's get on with the review. So my question for you though, Marilyn, is this. So where were you when you first heard about Stir of Echoes? How does it rate as far as your nostalgia goes?
Let's see, that was 1999. So I guess I lived here in Arkansas for about 4 years. And I remember seeing it come out and thinking, oh, well, Kevin Bacon's in it. So that's cool. And it looks kind of creepy. And I like that. I like that. And, but I remember when the first time I saw it, I thought, this is really resonating with me because I do happen to believe in life after death. I do believe in spirits can be around us. Um, and so the whole story, though, with the little boy and the father having the same gift and then helping this young woman that they don't know what's going on. And it really, really hit me. And then, yeah, I loved it. So with the nostalgia factor, it kind of takes me back to when I was kind of new here in Arkansas. And I guess I would give it a pretty high rating for me. I get real excited when I see it pop up on my streaming services again.
Okay, so would you put it like at like an 8.9 or would you put it at like a 9? How would you put it as if you're going to
Nostalgia wise, probably 8.5.
Okay, that's pretty high.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you. The first time I've seen this was in 2015.
Okay.
I was into other movies in 1999 to the point where I was like, Star of Echoes, Kevin Bacon movie. Nah, I think I'll go check out Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace, or see some other movie that represents me at who I am as a young teenager.
Mhm.
So that's where I am, and my nostalgia is going to be a little low. It's going to be probably about a 3.5 out of 10,
Oh.
but just because the fact that I was brand new to it, as far as that goes. So therefore, I was into other things. It's not that the movie was bad or anything like that, because I thought it was a fantastic film when I first seen it, and so, since I first saw it. But yeah, Kevin Bacon in this movie. You have a mystery element to it. You also have a psychological thriller horror element into it. I really love it. Watching it during spooky season definitely enhances the experience of it, and I also feel like it's very atmospheric and for the environment that we're introduced to in this little small community that Kevin Bacon's part of. That's something I really do appreciate with this film as well. Um, but yeah, let's go on ahead. Let's dissect this thing scene by scene. Okay, so let's do this. Welcome to the podcast where reality blurs and your mind is no longer your own. You're getting sleepy, very sleepy. No, you're just bored already. Snap out of it. Well, maybe you're not under a hypno trance, but Kevin Bacon sure was in Stir of Echoes, where a little hypnosis session went from fun popular trick to oh no, my house is haunted and I can't stop singing creepy things. Yeah, it's like hypnosis, but instead of helping you quit smoking, it helps you quit sleeping for the rest of your life. We're diving into The Star of Echoes, a movie that proves seeing dead people isn't just for kids, named Haley Joe Osment. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and dissect this thing scene by scene, stripping away the nostalgia and maybe enhancing it, maybe not. We'll just have to wait and see. So, the thing that I really like is the fact that you have this little kid that's in this bathtub, and he's breaking the fourth wall to us as if we are also dead as well.
Mm.
So that's what I got out of it. Like at the very beginning, it's like, well, who's he talking to? Because you see Kevin Bacon in the background, right? He's over there strumming on the guitar, and you see this little kid, and we don't know anything about these characters at all. But he's actually talking about how his best friend was a Power Ranger. You have Superman, Batman. This is basically me as a kid, but he's over there and basically introducing us into this world, and I love it. I love the fourth wall breaking this. I really felt like that maybe he's just not just talking to. Yeah, I just feel like he's talking to us as if we are dead.
Yeah.
But what do you think of the opening?
Yeah, I can totally see that, but, I didn't think as if we were dead.
Mm.
What I was thinking was like, "Who the heck?" You know?
Right,
Okay, so is he talking to the wall? What is he doing? The bathtub's not in the middle of the room. What's happening here? And so I was um, just listening and listening. And what is it he says? He says, I wrote notes.
okay.
Um, does it hurt to be dead? And then I went, oh, okay. All right. We got a ghost.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I thought it was great.
I did too. And you know what though? Too, like whenever he says, does it hurt to be dead?" I'm like, "Oh snap!" Then you're ready for this whole entire roller coaster ride of what to expect, and we also get the tone right off the bat of what we're expecting as well. But I
Yes.
like how Kevin Bacon is in the background, but he's not talking to Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon doesn't even realize that he's even talking to us. But once he winds up going back to get a towel for him, then
Mm.
he starts talking to the ghost. So it's no longer personal for us. It's now personal for him because now he's having contact with somebody else.
Yes.
So then it's like a little small like story introduction to us, and then now he's introducing and showing us the things that are happening around him through his lenses,
Yes.
and that's something I loved about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Kevin Bacon is playing a character named Tom Witzke. He's a phone lineman living in a working class neighborhood in Chicago with his pregnant wife Maggie and his son Jake, who possesses the ability to commune with the dead. At a party one evening, Tom challenges Maggie's sister Lisa, who is a believer of the paranormal activity, to hypnotize him. After putting him under, Lisa plans out a post um, hypnotic suggestion in Tom's, urging him to be more open minded. Tom then begins experiencing visions of violent scuffle involving a girl who he later learns is Samantha Kozak, a 17-year-old that disappeared from the neighborhood 6 months prior. So before that, he doesn't believe in any of this paranormal stuff. He's not having any visions. He doesn't have any. He's just a regular human being at this point. It's like, I don't believe in that horse shit. I don't believe in anything that's going on. I don't believe in this. And then I also like the back and forth between the sisters, because remember, we're introduced to the sisters as well,
Mhm.
with his wife and the sister of his wife. And he goes, "Oh, she's pregnant." She goes, "You're a jerk." He goes,
Yeah,
"Well, thank you. I do appreciate you telling your sister before I found out that
right.
you're pregnant."
Yeah,
And she goes, "Well, she's a witch. So I had to tell her." So he doesn't believe in it as supernatural stuff at this point. But I like how his character changes throughout the film, where he goes from not believing in anything to believing in something, which I thought was really fascinating of the turn of the events with that.
yeah, and I really love how, his son helps him accept what he's seeing. He's, "Don't be afraid of it, Dad," and then he starts thinking, "Oh, wow, my son knows this is I mean, my son, can he see it too? I'm sure that's," and it hits him and he's like, "Something's happening here, you know?
Right.
This is freaking me out."
And Kevin Bacon does do a great job of playing that freaked out father. Is like, "Oh shit, something's happening with my son. He's having this paranormal um, activity going on, and he doesn't know how to explain it." But I also like during the hypnosis, whenever she's telling him what to picture in his mind,
Mhm.
and I love how they're bringing it to the forefront. You see a
Yeah,
theater, you're by yourself in the theater. What do you see on the screen? And I like how the chair's floating up, and then
yeah,
it goes closer. That paranormal event for me, whenever he's hypnotized, is fantastic.
yeah,
That sucked me in whenever I seen this first on DirecTV. This is what hooked me, was this. And I realized I'm not that far into the movie to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm sold. I'm into this. I don't need to see the little boy talking in the bathtub or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I forgot that even happened until I watched this again.
right.
And I thought it was fantastic of the way it hooks you. If it doesn't hook you on that opening scene, it hooks you on this. And I
Yeah,
feel like it's not too far along to where you won't be hooked on it.
yeah, I just love how you see it from his his viewpoint. He's sitting in the chair and he's getting hypnotized and his eyes close, so the whole thing goes black. And then you can hear her voice. And then, you're in the theater and it's all black. First it's this theater, and then she describes it and it changes to this black, and there are people around him and you're all alone and then they disappear. And I love that. Absolutely.
And then also too, you also don't understand what's going on fully with him, because he's like, what happened? What happened to me?" Just and I was like, "Oh, you're crying like a little bitch because
Everybody's
of what."
laughing at him.
Right, and he doesn't know what's going on, and then he winds up realizing that he mentioned somebody that used to bully him years ago, and
Yes.
yes,
Oh
and
man.
he's yeah, going ahead. Sorry.
And then the needle through his hand
Yeah, yeah,
and bleed on one side, not the other. What?
that was just crazy.
That is crazy.
And here's the thing though. This is a little small nitpick for me. I wanted to see that. I wanted to see his initial what other people are seeing. I wanted to actually see what they were experiencing,
Yeah.
because I feel like that I would actually got more of a shock value out of it if they would have showed us that. But because they didn't, it doesn't really lead me to be able to be more scared or whatever, more freaked out. But the reaction of Kevin Bacon, I think they were banking on more than anything. So that, I guess that's why they didn't show it.
They did
But
they
yeah,
didn't need to, but it would have been fun to see that for sure.
right. Because you go from a guy that doesn't believe in any hypnosis or anything like that,
Mhm.
to a guy that now is open minded and not closed off to the world or anything. And he's like, "Look, we got to get the hell on out of here." So they wind up leaving, and then he has those visions of a girl that's first he sees a vision and his tooth winds up becoming missing, and then you're not even sure that he's actually awake or not either. So you actually feel the same way that he feels. Is this a dream or am I awake whenever he's seeing these visions?
Yeah.
But going ahead.
Oh, no, I agree. The tooth thing kind of was like, is that really happening to him? What's going on? But then, like, the details of the attack, the small details that aren't put together yet,
Hmm.
like the fingernail and, things like that happening. I was It was very well done, I thought, the way they put it out there to try to, bring you into the story. You don't know what's happening yet, but, you know,
Be right, because my wife was like, "What the hell is going on?" She didn't understand it. This is her first time seeing it. I'm like, "Trust me, once you realize what's going on, it all connects." It may
yeah,
feel disjointed because of the way that Kevin Bacon's also misjointed though too, and doesn't know what's going on, just as we don't know what's going on. So I really like that, and I said, "Just keep on watching," and she wound up loving it just as much as I do. But then you also see scratches on the floor, and you're seeing pieces of it. And then also too, the other thing that freaked me out was when he goes downstairs and he sees the girl sitting on the couch, and then she just quickly disappears, and he's over there with the TV on, and it's on mute.
yeah.
That part freaked me out big time with that.
Yeah, and then when he wanted her to come back, he kept trying to do the same
Right.
exact thing.
Right. I'm muting, mute it. See if she comes back. He even tries
Yeah,
doing that with his son though too. Because come on, do the voice thing. Come on, I know you know how to do it.
no,
Yeah,
that creeped me out, the whole
yeah.
voice thing on that kid. Ugh. Mm.
But but yeah, I just thought that was fascinating on how they wind up doing that. And then while Tom and Maggie attend a high school football game, Jake is overheard by his babysitter Debbie as he speaks with Samantha. Debbie gets upset and snatches Jake running off with him in the night. Meanwhile, Tom senses Jake is in danger and rushes home, but finds him gone. Tom then sees strange flashes of a red light that eventually leads him to the Mitra station where Debbie is speaking with her mother and Jake about Jake. But here's the thing. Jake winds up telling her about the sister, about Samantha's sister and everything too. It's like, well, call this person.
Mm. Yeah,
And they don't know this girl from Adam, but
uh,
yet I would actually question my son, like, how do you know this person? Why are you telling me to call this person? And so happens to be she's available to babysit him. But I
yeah.
also like how, you know, you have Kevin Bacon that calls up where Tom winds up calling up the sister. He goes, what the hell did you do to me? I'm seeing visions. I'm seeing this. And he's a line operator. He goes, I didn't do anything but tell you to be a lot more open minded
Yeah.
and not be so closed off. And now you're freely open. And she goes, why? He goes, because I cannot get these visions to stop. And she's mind blown over the fact that she was able to hypnotize him in the first place,
Right.
and he's now in this deep, huge thing that she doesn't even know herself on how to pull him out of it.
Yeah, and she tries to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah, doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. It feels terribly.
Yeah.
But what did you think of the fact of you had Jake that winds up telling them, "Hey, look, call this person up. I want her to be. This person's available. You guys can go out." And then it happens to be winds up being the sister of the girl that Kevin Bacon's having visions of.
Well,
And yeah,
it was Samantha that
yeah,
told him, right? So, call so and so because, uh, you know, uh, I think it's a friend. Okay, so a friend, they've used Debbie before, so
yeah,
call her, and why don't you do that? Oh yeah, who told you that? And oh, it was Samantha.
right.
But
And she
they
goes,
didn't know who that was.
no. And also too, Debbie's like, do you talk to her? He goes, yeah, I talk to her.
Yeah,
Where? and he points to his bed, and it freaks her out, and she has every right to be freaked out.
Absolutely.
And so she snatches him up, takes him over to the metro station.
To see
Kevin
her.
Bacon's also being freaked out because he's seeing visions,
Mhm.
and he sees that flash of red. Even when she enters the door, there's that flash of red. And usually in movies, flash of red means death or something's gonna bad's gonna happen to that character.
Yeah.
But with this, it's like a warning. And I like how they played the narrative off of that, where it's not about the danger aspect for Kevin Bacon, it's the danger aspect for his son, because he's about to be snatched away from this girl that they barely even know.
Right.
And because of the fact that they only used her maybe once or twice, and then once they get into the metro station, she's like, "Well, how do you know that name, Samantha? How do you know it?" And he's like, "What are you talking about? We don't know nobody named Samantha." She
Yeah.
goes, "Your son does. Jake knows." And she goes, "Look at the picture. Have you ever seen this person?" And Kevin Bacon doesn't even want to look at it. He's just like, "No, I haven't seen that girl in my life."
But you can tell he's like, "Oh, I have seen her."
"Hello, Mr. Midnight. How are you?"
Oh,
But yeah, y- but I just thought that was really interesting of the fact that you see he's lying. Um he knows he's seen her before, you know.
mhm.
So therefore, they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And the cop's like, and then all of a sudden you have the cop interrogating them. It's like, have you seen this person? Just look at the picture. Look at the picture.
Mhm.
And I'm like, dude, this person's in trouble for taking their son, you know. So you should cut him a little bit of a break here. She just
Yeah.
now just started randomly asking questions when really it's not it's not Kevin Bacon's fault. It's not his fault or anything like that on what's going on. He's just as clueless as she is. But and I understand that she's also freaked out, so they're both not wrong in the wrong. It
No.
just happens to be coincidence. But go on. Sorry.
Oh, it's alright. Well, trying to discuss something like that, like, because he knew he'd seen her before, he's still not understanding what's going on, but trying to it that is not the time or the place to say, "Yeah, I've seen her. She shows up in my on my couch,"
Right.
every once in a while. So, but he's starting to understand more, and he realizes that she's just not some random person. There's a reason why she's there, you know? There's somebody she's related to people in the community, and, so now he's starting to put it together a little bit more.
Right. And he's realizing there's more to the eye than what it seems with
Yeah.
what's going on here. And he's wondering how all this is connected as well. And then you wind up finding out that he's been going through this for 2 weeks. He hasn't been going to work or anything either. He's been so glued in and so dialed into the fact of wanting to find out what's going on. And matter of fact, at that football, when everybody's at tailgating and stuff like that, that's when you find out about the fact whenever when he was asking the guys about Samantha,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, you mean that R,
Yeah. Mhm.
the slow it down. And I love how one person stuck up for her
Yes.
and said, and even if the person's not dead or anything like that, I like the fact that he stood up for her and said, hey, look, we do not talk like that here. You know what I'm saying?
Wasn't
And
that Kevin, Dunn?
yeah, Kevin Dunn.
Yeah. I love that character. That was a good character.
It really was in this dark moment
Mhm.
of Kevin Bacon trying to figure out what's going on. You have this one character that is really still trying to be able to keep that spirit of Samantha alive by
Mhm.
trying not to make her slow it down or trying to say the R word or anything like
Mhm.
that. And I really love that about him. And then you wind up, then after that, they're like, well, she ran away. That's it. There's nothing to it. And and basically, Tom's not letting it go. And and then Tom becomes obsessed with Samantha and begins probing members of the community about her disappearances. This attracts the attention of the landlord, Harry Dunham, Tom's friend, Frank McCarthy, and their respective sons, Kurt Damon and Adam McCarthy, who all dismiss Samantha as a runaway teen after another pro- uh, poetic vision in which Frank tells Tom that they're going to kill you and
Hmm.
Maggie both. Tom finds that Adam has shot himself in Frank's home and is in critical condition. The vision of him having that image in his head where Adam shoots himself and he's covered in blood and he
Yeah,
doesn't understand what's going on. And you also have the father sitting out on the stoop. He goes, he goes, this was such a great neighborhood.
yeah,
And
yeah,
now it's darkened.
yeah. I love that they use that vision, that the one with Kevin Dunn, um, that plays Frank.
Yeah,
They use that vision early, and you don't see that come back around until much later in the film. And even though that vision, and then Tom walking down the street to where his son is, where Frank's son is, and I mean, those are two separate elements, but they showed it to us at the same time, one right after the other. So it was interesting to see how it all came back around.
exactly. Because if you remember, whenever the cop shows up, he's like, "You're gonna see images. Your son's gonna see images in your, and also too, the father's gonna see images that are gonna be misconceived and not gonna be connected
Yeah,
either." So I like how they actually mentioned that, and it actually happens, and we're like, okay, we're not as confused because this is supposed to happen.
yeah,
So, and I like the fact that too that doesn't get happen that part of it doesn't happen until like the very end. But then you have that whole entire scene where you know it's deja vu all over again because Kevin Bacon actually had this
yeah,
image of him walking down the street, the same postman walking down the street, him not finding his boot. That's also another thing that happened. Everything was exactly how his vision happened, and then the son being covered in blood, and then he hurries up, goes over to the house, and tries to prevent the suicide from happening.
yeah.
And then I just love the love that he has for his landlord. That
Hmm.
that Tom has for his landlord. I think the chemistry between everybody is fantastic.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I love him when he's walking down the sidewalk and the dog barks and the male postal worker comes by, and it's exactly the same, and he's like, oh, it's happening. But he knows what to do, because I mean, so he tries to get in there immediately, and he doesn't make it in time, but
No,
he
but it
knows
could have been a
something.
lot worse, I think.
Could have been, I think. Yep.
Because remember, he says to Tom, he goes, "I want to show you something." He goes, "What do you want to show me?" And he pulls up. This is in his vision, by the way, in case anybody's wondering. But he's like, "I got something to show you." Because what do you have to show me? It's like, look. He goes, "That's nice. Just put the gun down. Do not." He goes, "Come over here, a little, um, a little closer." He goes, "No, I'm good right here. Just put the gun down."
Yeah.
And then he winds up taking the gun and shooting himself, and then he's covered in blood. And then that's whenever Matt. That's of course when Tom winds up coming out of that whole entire vision, and he goes over to the house. But yeah, everything was perfectly executed with that. I really love the way everything was done. Everything was perfectly well done with that scene.
Yes, I agree.
So then, meanwhile, during an afternoon walk, Jake and Maggie encounter the funeral where Chicago policemen are saluting in a cemetery for a policeman named Nellie. Nellie immediately recognizes Jake's unique talent and invites Tom to a private gathering of like minded people to learn about what is happening to his son. But Maggie withholds her conversation with Neil from Tom and goes to the meeting herself. And Neil tells her that the spirit that contacted Tom has asked for something and will grow upset If it does not get done, as predicted, Samantha begins plaguing Tom, eventually leading to his insomnia. He goes back to Lisa and demands she undo what she did, but she hypnotizes him. Samantha tells him to dig. Tom complies and digs holes in the backyard, eventually tears up the house in a desperate attempt to appease Samantha. So we have a lot going on with this, but like we mentioned, Jake goes over to the cemetery. He sees Neil. Neil sees him. At first, you're not sure if Neil is dead or alive either. So it's
That's
playing that
true.
mind trick
Mhm,
with you
mhm,
because he just
mhm.
happens to pop up behind one of the cemetery walls, right behind a grave, and now you're wondering, oh, is this guy dead or is he alive? Is Jake hallucinating? Is he having a vision? And no, because now Matt's wife is seeing him.
Mhm.
So therefore, he also tells her this. He goes, "You don't have the vision. Your
No.
son does. Matt
Mhm.
does. But I want to see the daddy.
Yeah.
Bring the daddy by." So that, and also Jake, and I also like how Jake knows Neil. He goes, "Hey Neil," and he goes,
Yeah.
"Hey Jake."
Yeah. They just know.
Right. And the mother's like, "What the?"
I
But yeah,
know.
and he goes, "That's Neil." But just I love the little innocence of it and the little laughter of it
Yeah.
to just have like a little bit of a chuckle here. But what did you think about that scene?
Um, I love how Neil, mom's concerned about Neil, of course. She should be. This guy's walking up to them.
Hmm.
But then she realizes that, I mean, Neil's like, I know that your son has this gift. He calls him, he's got the eyes on him, X-ray, and it's like, oh, oh, okay, my son has that. And he says something like the father too. And that I think made her go, okay, they have a connection. And then, of course, when they say each other's names, it's like, okay. I thought it was a great scene. I really did. And there's got to be, to me, there has to be somebody, a character, somebody that steps into the story that helps them along.
Right.
And it certainly helped the mother, because then she could kind of understand a little bit better and accept the strangeness that was going on with her husband.
Right.
And
Because at that
and
point, right. Because at that point, if you think about it, he's already getting Jake to say, "Come on, say the word. Come on, come on,
yeah,
do the
yeah,
voice again. Do the voice." And
yeah,
then you have that, and then you also have them having their own conversations. And then when Maggie walks in, they all go quiet as
yep,
well. So it makes it feel like that they're talking about her when they're not really talking about her.
mm-mm,
They're trying to understand each other from a deeper level that
yeah,
Maggie can't even understand.
yeah, yeah. Well,
So
and then the son said he didn't want to talk about it because it scares mom.
I
So
love that.
yeah,
I like the fact that he was thinking about her and how she would react.
yeah,
And so therefore they stopped doing it. And then she winds up meeting Neil, and now she understands from that deeper level. Okay, so there is something bigger that's going on here than what I thought. So
yeah,
therefore, I need to be there for my husband and support him, even though it might seem outrageous. But I have to try and help him.
mm-hmm,
So if he says he needs to dig, he needs to dig. If he says that he needs to go out, he needs to go out and do something. So that's
yeah,
just an example. But I like how she has his back and is there for him and stuff too. Um, but yeah, then you wind up having the other thing too, where at the gathering, whenever she sees and people are yelling behind Neil's back, he goes, "Hey, look, close the door. This is not an open sanctuary for everybody."
yeah,
He goes, "Look, I'm not going until I get answers." And she's like, "Okay." He's like, "Okay." He tells her what's going on. It kind of reminds me of The Shining, right? With Jack Nicholson, where the caretaker of the hotel also
yeah,
has the shine, and so does Danny.
yeah,
So it
Yes.
kind of reminds me
Yeah,
of that.
and Crothers. Yep, I love that character too. Yeah.
But yeah, and then after that happens, you also have um the other thing where the sister winds up trying to pull him out of it, out of that whole entire hypnoness as well. And she's like, "You're in the movie theater by yourself. There's no one there around you. Um, you see a screen. The images are blurred." And then he goes, "Wait, I see somebody. No, you're by yourself, Tom. You're by yourself. No, there's someone here with me." Oh, that is so eerie and
It
creepy and
is
makes my
so
skin
eerie.
crawl.
Yeah, yeah, I love that.
The way they do this, they understand what this movie is. It doesn't try to be something that it's not, right? They know that they're trying to pull you in with the psychological thriller and and also to the paranormal. And
Mhm,
normally, films today they do too much, and they try and they're not sure who this is actually for. This actually knows its identity and knows
mm,
what it is and knows the target audience for it, and that's something I appreciate with it. From Kevin Bacon's performance to the actress that's playing Maggie, to
mhm.
Jake, everybody is doing their job here, and it's fantastic to see.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, then he goes back, and Lisa demands she undo what she did, and then you have Samantha who tells him to dig, and now he's digging holes in his backyard, and he's also destroying the living room with a sledgehammer while his wife is over there with her mother's funeral.
Yes.
And so you have that going on, and I love how he knows that her mother died, and because Maggie, what? Your mother's not going to the hospital. Next thing you know it, the phone rings.
Yeah.
He wasn't the one who wanted to tell her,
Mm-mm.
you know?
Mhm.
And so she winds up finding out, and he goes, "So do you want me to go?" "Yeah, I want you to go, you asshole. Yeah, I do. I want you to go." No, I want you to stay here and dig holes all day." "Yeah." Just look, I can't go. I have to keep digging. I have to dig. I don't know what to do. So she winds up leaving. Jake goes, and I also like how Jake is also getting frustrated, just as Maggie's husband's also getting upset though too. How Tom is getting upset, and he winds up throwing his truck.
I
throws a
know. Yeah.
But after they leave, he's like, "Okay, this is not working." He goes over to the living room, takes a sledgehammer, and starts beating down on the floor. By then, the house looks like a crack house.
Right.
Looks like squatters would actually go there because of the way he destroyed this house.
Yeah.
And then it plays into this though too that he winds up going to the hardware store trying to find something to break the concrete in the basement now.
In the basement, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so he winds up taking the sledgehammer, trying to break that. It doesn't work, so he gets the next thing you know, he gets some type of equipment to actually drill holes into the cement, a power drill.
Yeah.
And I like how the neighbors are all looking. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this guy?
I know. I know. Yeah.
But at first, I thought somebody might be. I forgot how this movie ends, but I was like, is everybody in this neighborhood a snitch? Does everybody know what happened to this girl?
Mhm.
And somebody's going to leak information back to the neighbors, because there's one part where one of the neighbors is actually just looking at him, and she's getting in her car slowly, like, okay, this guy's losing his mind. But at
Mhm.
the same time, I'm like, is she going to snitch on him?
Yeah.
But I'm glad they didn't do it like that. I'm glad that it happens to be the neighbor's kid that actually sees what's going on.
Mhm.
And then you find out for 6 months the neighbor has been dealing with the guilt of everything that's been going down, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I thought from the moment that he gets the jackhammer and everything else, and then finally he winds up taking taking the sledgehammer and basically knocks down these bricks, and they all come down, and then you see the body of Samantha.
Yeah. The plastic she was wrapped up in. Yeah. And
And
then
then he also touches her. Yeah.
yeah,
Go on ahead and
opens
talk about
her
that
up.
scene.
Yeah, I love that. Something that I never noticed before until I watched this last time is that that basement is all brick
Mhm.
except for that one area where it's actually like rock. And he takes that pickaxe or whatever it was and hits it and the rocks fall down. And then he's like, "What?" And there's a little room, a little chamber in there. And he opens it up more and then you see the plastic and him opening up the plastic itself and exposing um, the remains of Samantha. Um, it's just phenomenal. And like you were just going to say, he touches her hand and then the
But
whole scene plays out of what happened to her, and that was phenomenal.
it was, and not only that, but whenever he's removing the plastic, though, too, it looks like that they're showing us the body through Samantha's lenses of
Yeah.
her, of him rescuing her.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's what I got. Even though she's dead, it feels like to me there's like, oh yes, at last I'm gonna get some peace. At last, someone's coming over here to rescue me after 6 months of being in this wall.
Yeah. Yep.
And you're right about the wall though, because I didn't even notice it whenever, especially whenever you see Tom's wife go down to the basement to light the. Remember when she tries to light the water heater?
Water
The
heater.
water heater's already, the water heater's already lit, and of course, the reason why the bathtub is basically cold is because Samantha's sitting on the bathtub. And then you
Yeah.
also have the son also trying to watch a horror movie of the mummy, and the mother winds up telling him, "Hey, look, you need to shut that off or change it." She winds up changing it to winds up changing the channel to a kids program, and then Samantha changes it back over to the mummy. He unplugs the TV set and is still playing the mummy, and that was another spooky element.
Yeah.
Everything about this just worked, and the pacing of it is doesn't slow down at
No,
all.
it doesn't at all. Mm-mm.
But but once he touches the body and then he winds up transforming into Samantha through the vision of that, that was amazing on how they did the special effects for 1999.
Yeah.
And you get to see it. You see the douchebag's son, you know, calling Samantha to come in, and then he's like, she goes, "Well, you can kiss me if you want." And of course, she's not in her right mind or anything like that to even make that decision. But yet, you're going to take advantage of this girl because of the fact that you just want bragging rights because you got laid, and you're
Mhm.
going to take advantage of her. And that's the sad thing with this victim. And he was going to rape her if anything because she was also struggling. And then you have the other douchebag that winds up coming over there and smothering her with the plastic, and then she winds up dying. And of course, you wind up seeing the tooth being when she falls on the floor. You see the tooth being missing. You see the scratches. Um, the the fingernails
Ugh,
being with her fingernails being broken like that. I'm like, ooh.
I know.
And then they're like, okay, what are we gonna do? Is she dead? Yeah, man, she's dead. What do we do? And then you see her lights just slowly slipping away from present day to death.
Hmm.
And then it goes into the fact that she was stuffed in the wall for 6 months, and it comes to find out the person they're renting from is the one who just helped put her there. So it it was sad to see something like that happen, but man,
Yeah. It was a difficult scene. It was very difficult. One thing that I really liked is the two characters, the both fathers of the football
yeah,
sons, because one's obviously bad,
mm,
and the other one, the one that Kevin Dunn plays, um, is a very he's tormented by having to live with covering up what their sons had done. The other guy didn't care, you know. But Kevin Dunn's character, and I, by the way, I think that's probably one of his best performances ever. When he gets really upset and he's like confessing, what were we supposed to do,
Right.
and he's just like crying and angry and frustrated and all that. I thoroughly thought he did great on that performance.
I did too. I think he did a fantastic job with that, and just playing this person that has been just swallowed by guilt over what he did, even though he wasn't the one who killed the girl or anything like that, but he was the one who helped, you know, stir away in the basement, and him not being able to rest, and now he is able to find rest with his own self because of the fact now he doesn't have to hide it anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. And the scene where uh, Tom takes Frank down to the basement, shows him and all that, and Frank has the gun, and Tom gets out of the basement real quick, and because he's afraid he's going to get shot or whatever, and then you hear a gunshot, and you think he killed himself, you know?
right.
Yeah, and then in comes the bad father with
Which
his son. Yeah,
Harry and Kurt, yeah, they show
yeah,
up,
they show up.
and
Mm,
right, and then you also have the wife who, before that happens, calls him up from the funeral and says, "Hey, look, do you want to look? I can come and get you because are you going to be able to come? You can still make it. It'll be only an hour drive." He goes, "No, I got. Look, I'm sorry for what happened." And at this point, you see the destruction around him that he's done. He goes, "I got some things to do over here." He goes, "Well, I can come and get you." "No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Just finish up on what you have to do. It'll be all right." He goes, "I can't take the company truck." So then she's like, "Look, I'm gonna leave." So next thing you know, the little Jake winds up saying, "Look, mom, I'm gonna stay here with your sister because of the fact I don't like the feathers," and we don't know exactly what that means.
yeah.
So she's like, "Okay, cool." So she winds up almost forgetting her purse, and her son's like, "Here, mom,
Mhm.
don't forget your purse." And at that point, you're thinking, okay, driver's license, because she doesn't need to be driving without a license,
Yeah,
because that's the first instinct of the innocence of a kid to me is not forgetting your mom's driver's license. But then the mother winds up, then of course she winds up beeping the horn for Tom to come out of the house. Then you see the lights, the porch go off, the porch lights go off. At
yeah,
this point, they also have Tom on the floor because remember they just barge in. Tom's like, "No, I need a, I, I have stuff to do. I'm busy." They still barge in and run past them, past him, and he's like, "What the hell is going on with you?" Everything they see everything that's going on in the house, and he's like, "Look, I couldn't get to the water furnace or anything like that from underneath the house." He goes, "Wait, there is no water furnace underneath the house. What are you talking about, Tom?" And he goes, and then after that, he realizes he's screwed, but they're about to pull the trigger on him anyways, and then all of a sudden his wife shows up in the nick of time and gets the knife, stabs um Harry with the knife on the foot. And then of course then you also have the neighbor, the one that's supposed to be the one that's paying rent, and he winds up shooting Kurt and also shooting the son in the chest and killing them both. And then
yeah.
that's whenever he realizes, you know, that he's been living with this for 6 months.
Hmm.
And then you have that scene being played out where this was such a quiet neighborhood.
Yeah, that's when that scene pops up again. You're like, holy cow.
And then if it wasn't for now, let's say for instance that Samantha did bring Jake, and let's say that the floors weren't, disconjointed or anything like that, and nobody was there yet. Let's say for instance that Kurt and them didn't show up yet, and then Samantha came in. Let's just say that for a second. And then, you know, Jake could have been upstairs
Hmm.
when the gun went off. And the feathers symbolizes the fact that it was underneath whenever the trigger is being pulled. It could have actually been him. Jake could have been dead if he didn't
Yep,
stay over there with Samantha's sister.
that's right. That's why he was afraid of those feathers. He knew that was going to happen, which
But
is really
yeah,
cool.
and then of course at this point they're like, you know what? You see the ghost of Samantha the next day. She leaves out, and then you also see Tom and them. They're leaving off the U-Haul, and then after that, they wind up. That after that, the movie ends.
Yeah, with the kid they're driving down the road and the kid hears all the voices.
Yeah, Jake covers his ears as they approach by
Yeah,
their new
they're all
home.
like talking to
Yeah,
him. Yeah. Oof. Ugh.
but did you know in 2007 they made another Stair of Echoes movie?
No, I don't.
I didn't know that up until I did the research for it. But yeah, they actually did another one of a Stir of Echoes, but I don't know exactly what it's about. I have a little bit of something. The Homecoming was released as an American television movie, so it was made for movie by Lionsgate Entertainment. The film premiered on the Sci-Fi Channel originally, titled "The
Hmm.
Dead Speak." It was written and directed by Ernie Barbrash, and its only connection to the previous work is the inclusion of Jake Witzke, who had a key role in the original film, but is only a secondary character here. So really, they could have did something with the son, but instead they chose not to, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I'll have to watch it. I don't know if I want to watch it though, to be honest with you.
Right? This one's scary enough on its own to the point where I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to see a sequel to this.
Yeah, and usually I'm always disappointed with sequels. I mean, they're never ever gonna. I can't imagine another film being, a sequel being as good as the original. That's just not gonna happen, I don't think.
Same. And a matter of fact, this film ranked third at the box office and it grossed $5,811,664 and
Mm.
stayed in the top 10 for 3 weeks after a 14-week run to the total domestic gross of 21 million, $73,708 million. In the UK, so worldwide it made more than $23 million.
Hmm.
So but yeah, many reviews also felt like that it suffered from being released shortly after previous high-earning cult films of the year, such as Sixth Sense, The Blair Witch Project, and The Mummy.
Uh,
Sarah Voorhees gave it the benefit of the doubt because the movie, or at least the story of for it, appeared long before The Sixth Sense and Richard Matheson's 1958 novel. So,
Interesting.
just a little fun little trivia facts that I found. But yeah, all in all, I enjoy this movie, but I want to know now where your ranking is as far as I know we stripped away the nostalgia, but it's hard to actually strip away the nostalgia for this movie for yourself and everything. I know I ranked it around a three-ish for nostalgia, but where do you rank it at now out of 10?
It's still got to be high. It's got to be 9.
Okay,
I just love it. I love it. Love it.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna give mine like an 8.5 because of the fact of all the things that we mentioned between the special effects, the storytelling, the way we're introduced to the characters. There was little small nitpicky things, like whenever they say that Kevin Bacon's character Tom was going through something for 2 weeks. I wish that we would actually seen him doing more to show that he's been going through this for 2 weeks instead of someone telling it. But that's only a little small nitpicky thing for me, though, to the point where I cannot give this a low score because of the fact, the pacing, the storytelling, the chemistry with all the characters, the world building that they did with it. And then the little boy that played Jake, his performance is fantastic. The little small town of everybody knows each other kind of vibe to it. I really love it. I have to watch this at least every single time that it comes on DirecTV.
Yeah, every time it pops up, I'm gonna be looking at it again. So I
Same
never
here.
I never get bored with good movies. I watch them over and over and over again.
Same here. And you messaged me when you were when you were watching it, and you said that you pick up on something new every single time, and that you
Mhm.
definitely do. Rewatchability is amazing with this
Yeah,
film.
yeah.
And just letting everybody know, you can stream this now on Paramount Plus. So you can go on ahead and check that out on Paramount Plus. And also too, if you want a free digital code to Transformers 1, which I have, you have to reach out to me at movieloversunite@gmail.com and get yourself a copy of Transformers 1. And I'm just going to do that ad read one more time for everybody so that way everybody will know what's going on. But seriously, you guys need to get that digital code and be able to just inbox me with it, because I'm seriously, you guys need to see this movie. I heard fantastic things with it, and you know, bring home Transformers today and buy digital now. Watch the story being untold by Optimus Prime and Megatron, brothers in arms, turned sworn enemies who changed the fate of Cybertron forever. Crimson Hemsworth, Brian Tyree Henry, and Scarlett Johansson starring in the film critics are calling the perfect movie for the whole family. Includes over 45 minutes of fun-filled bonus features available at participating retailers. Buy Transformers 1 on digital today, rated PG from Paramount Animation and Hasbro. So that's just a little thing. And of course, go on ahead and get yourself a free digital movie from me, from Movie Lovers Unite, and get that code at movieloversunite@gmail.com. So that's going to be it as far as the show goes. Marilyn, thank you so much for joining me for
Yeah,
this review.
always a pleasure, always.
Yes, it is. I always love having you on. You're such a spark of energy when you come on here. I love it. I love your passion for movies and cinema. Um, but yeah, guys, I will be back Saturday night at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time for a Nightmare on Elm Street review of the original, because I just bought that on 4K not too long ago. So do me a favor, smash that like button, smash the subscribe button. We also have the Penguin review that I did last night, and then also too, Ernest Scared Stupid is now available on the audio podcast and also on the video podcast as well for that. And the Penguin review is going to be dropping tomorrow for the audio as well.
Mm.
So that's going to be it as far as this review goes. Everyone have a great and safe night, and thank you, Mr. Midnight, for commenting below. I do appreciate that. From Midnight Cinema, go ahead and visit him at the Midnight Cinema. And always until next time, guys. Bye bye.